The Digitech Whammy pedal has done some amazing things. Whether you are a fan of Tom Morello or not, he has changed rock music quite a bit.
Okay. Welcome to ToneBros. My name's Casey.
And I'm Colin. We're going to get started today with our current topic. So, Casey, take it away.
I'll take it away. This is exciting news. Big news from Marshall. They've got giant price drops for the U.S.
Really?
Like huge price drops.
Okay. How much of a price drop?
Okay, so let's talk about that JTM 20 head we've been looking at.
That's what you've been looking at. Don't act like it's just us.
Okay.
It's you.
That I've been looking at.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe for the head, if I'm not wrong here, it was $15.99 for just the head.
So $1,600.
$1,600. That dropped to $12.99 for just the head.
So it dropped $300.
$300.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty dang good. The Silver Jubilee head, 100-watt head, dropped down to $18.99. It was at like almost $3,000. So these prices are dropping down because there was a middleman basically for the distributor in between the UK to the US.
Okay.
So that middleman was taking his little cut, right? Which makes sense. And now they got rid of that.
How'd you find out about all this anyway?
About the price drop?
Yeah, and the middleman and all this stuff.
I read it somewhere. I think there was an article that popped up somewhere, and I pulled it up online and started reading about it. But if you get on like any of the sites, Sweetwater, anything, Guitar Center, you'll see like price drop all over Marshall stuff.
Okay.
And if you click on it, you'll see what the old price is versus the new price. Like my 50-watt head, which technically is not the same. They have a Mark II model they're selling now, but this is the Mark I. It was like $29.99, I think, is what they were selling for, and now it's down to like $2,100 or something.
Holy cow, that's a huge...
took like a third off of it.
Wow.
So I think a lot of the prices are coming down like in the ballpark of 20% to like 30%.
Okay.
But basically it takes that studio head that I was looking at for like $1,500-$1,600. You can get that and the cab now for pretty much the same price you could buy just the head for. So, what's your thoughts on this? Does it change your thoughts on... Because Marshall for the U.S. has been kind of pricey to get a hold of.
For sure. It's not kind of. It is.
And,
or it was.
For what it was, I thought it was kind of pricey and therefore kind of sought after. Does it change your mind on Marshall stuff?
I mean, I don't know if it's not going to change my mind. Like, I always liked Marshall.
Right, yeah.
It's kind of one of those things where, like, I've got Fenders, I've got a Vox. Could I ever see myself with a Marshall? I don't know. I think one of those studios, I definitely could.
Yeah.
If they ever made those JTM 1s again, I would be there for it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, that JTM 20 is pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Pretty close to what you're looking for. 20
sound,
watts.
If it's good enough for Tom Bukovac.
It's good enough for me.
That's right.
It's too good for me, probably.
So, but no, that price point, I mean, sounds like you need to buy one.
So the Studio Vintage, they've got the 800, they've got the Silver Jubilee, they've got that JTM 20, and they've got the standard Plexi 20. And they're all selling for $12.99 now.
So would you get the JTM?
For me, I would get the JTM.
Yeah.
I've got this, which, is great, but I can't play it out very much. And
the JTM will be a bit warmer too, so I think it'll be a little better with pedals.
So we'll get into this one day, but I actually changed some tubes around here to make this head a little bit warmer than what it is some of the preamp tubes, which should help it a lot. And I was trying to get a little closer to that JTM thing, I guess.
Okay.
And yeah, I think the JTM would be closer to what I want. It'd probably be even a little bit more warm than this. But I think this moves Marshall into the category of more affordable for the gigging musician.
Right.
I think it takes them from like almost boutique prices on a lot of their stuff, especially like Silver Jubilees or 800 heads.
Right.
Even like the DSL stuff, some of their heads and stuff. The Origin series that they've got, I think the Origin 50 head now. So a 50-watt Origin head is selling for like $5.99 or $6.99.
Okay.
For a backup head?
Right.
I mean, that would be a killer deal.
Yeah.
So the problem is now we've got a weird used market. We've got a Guitar Center that's not real far away from us that's got one of those JTM 20 heads that I've been itching to go play, but they're selling it now for like $14.99 used.
Or you could just buy a brand new one.
Buy a brand new one for $12.99.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna? I don't know what's gonna happen with this used market, but all these people are gonna have to take a lot less.
Right.
I don't know how they're gonna, you know.
I was about to say, you're gonna have a lot of aggravated people, but that's just the market. I mean, no one can.
Can't predict the market.
No.
You know, but it does make it a lot more interesting for me because, yeah, and then you look in the combos and stuff, and now the combos and everything's getting really competitive with the stuff that Fender's doing and the stuff that, you know, all these other companies are doing.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some of these distributors, like those middlemen, kind of go away like that because it helps us out with Marshall. You know, there's like Victory overseas that I'd love to check out some of their stuff, but, you know, supposedly it's pretty reasonable over there in the UK to buy Victory stuff. But here it's not. You know, it's a little pricey.
I haven't even looked into Victory, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I've looked at some of their stuff, and then every time I look, I'm like, yeah, but why would I buy that when I can just buy this that's, you know, about the same price?
Right. So that's cool. I didn't realize that Marshall had dropped that much. I would check out some of their stuff.
Yeah.
I still don't know if I'm going to buy anything necessarily.
Is there one piece that you're like, man, if that went down in price significantly enough, I would probably go play one and maybe jump on it?
I've never really tried it like a blues breaker type of amp.
Yeah, okay. Like the combo?
Yeah.
Oof.
I've never really tried one. I've heard some iffy things about it being bass heavy sometimes. So, but anyways, that's another topic for another day.
So there is some out there.
I'm curious.
Long story short,
if it was a good price point and something I'm interested in, I would probably jump on a Marshall. So.
Okay, well that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing what all shakes out, but I'm very excited for that. So,
yeah, let us know if there's anything in particular you're checking out for Marshall now. So, we're going to go ahead and get started in one of our main topics, and this is something that I think it'd just be fun to talk about.
Okay.
What was your first guitar pedal? Because I don't even know if I know that.
You don't know what mine is, or you don't know what yours is?
Well, I know what mine is, but
Yeah.
I don't know what yours was. I feel like it could have been a delay or something.
Yeah, it was my very first delay, or my very first pedal was the infamous Boss DS1.
Boss DS1.
The orange. I've still got it.
Uh-huh.
I wish I would have realized this was coming up. I would have grabbed it. But yeah, an orange DS1 from Boss, and I was playing into one of Dad's old amps. He had a PV Bandit at the time, which, you know what?
Still a great amp.
That amp was not bad, all things considered.
Yeah.
I was watching some Brent Mason stuff here a while back, and he was talking about the amps he came to town with whenever he moved to Nashville. And he was playing the PV Special 130s.
Okay.
So it's just like, you know, big old, almost like twin kind of esque thing.
Right.
So the Bandit is basically its little brother. And I'll tell you what, that DS1, I played the crap out of it. I mean, I just played and played
Until
it.
the light goes out and everything.
Yeah, until my LED went out. So I've got it still, but the LED doesn't work. I guess it burnt out or something. But those things are, you know, they're tough. Those Boss pedals, they're going to work forever.
Right.
I think I got that one, and then my very next pedal after that was it's either a Crybaby or it was a DD3 delay. Yeah.
Okay.
That was my first little...
What was your first amp?
My first amp.
What did you plug it into is what I'm trying to get at.
Plugged into that PV Bandit. I played that PV Bandit for...
literally just said that.
Yeah, I played it into that for a long time.
Okay. Gotcha. So, I was about to say, I think my first pedal was a Vox Wah. Because, yeah, I was trying to be like Slash, and I was like, well, I don't want a Crybaby because it doesn't have enough sweep.
Oh, yeah.
So I went this Vox Wah, and it'll make me sound like Slash.
Yeah.
I had an Epiphone Les Paul at the time. I think I plugged into a Line 6.
Yeah.
And one of those Spider amps.
Yeah. Insano channel.
No, not in the Insane channel. It was like Crunch or something.
Oh, you
but
never played in the Insane channel?
don't get me wrong. I tested it out. But when I was playing with this wah, I was like, no, I'm going to play it on the Crunch or the Lead channel or something like that. And yeah, it got me pretty close to Slash.
Yeah. You sound just like him.
Yeah. Especially, I'm sure you loved it because I was learning how to play. And you would probably hear your guitar. It was the worst Sweet Child of Mine you ever heard. But I tell you what, I had a lot of fun with that wah pedal.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that DS1 until I realized, you know, maybe I should try something different. But I don't know. Those first pedals they're life-changing. They really are.
What's cool about it is like, you know, you spend all this time learning guitar and you're finally getting the hang of it and you're like, but I still want to sound like my heroes. So then you try out something else and then it makes you more inspired to play. Yeah. I kind of think that's like the whole reason behind why people love pedals so much and like to try out new pedals, because it just inspires you in a different way.
Pedals were so like, I was so curious about them. And they were like, I don't know, they were mysterious and like special, and you know, demos weren't really a thing.
Right.
You couldn't go out and listen to things.
Besides Gearman, dude. So
yeah, well, when I got that, there was no YouTube, so it was not a thing. I'm an old man.
Yeah.
So basically a Neanderthal over here. So whenever I got it, it was just, I mean, you could read a little blurb, you know, in literally a piece of paper book about them, but you had to go to a store and try them out. And I remember buying it and thinking, like, this is it. I tried it and the Super Overdrive, the yellow one, that Zakk Wylde played.
Yeah. I
didn't know who was playing what. I didn't know anything about that.
Right.
I just wouldn't play it. It was like, this sounds like cool rock and roll. And this one says distortion, and I want distortion.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I had the Voxwah, and then I think my next pedal, because I wanted something with an octave and a fuzz, so I got the Angry Fuzz from Visual Sound. Oh, and I sold it, and I kind of wish I had it still.
It was
a cool pedal.
Visual Sound made some really cool pedals. They're still out there as True Tone.
Right.
You know, I actually use a bunch of their power supplies now for pedal boards and stuff.
Right.
But their pedals are really good, too.
Yeah.
There's a little sleeper pedal that I don't want to mention because maybe they'll all get bought up, or maybe you'll hear about it, you know, and you will...
No one's watching this channel, Casey. You might as well just tell people what it is. No one's going to see it anyway.
We do a thing called Pedalmas.
Oh, that is
every
true.
Christmas. And I don't want to bring it up because we buy each other, we do like a pedal trade at Christmas. And we need to have a whole episode about it. Right. But I don't want to bring it up because it's something that I've looked into in the past. Okay. So that's why I don't want to bring it up. Gotcha. Certainly not thinking that a bunch of people are going to be buying things up. Yeah, so I think the first pedal can really dictate where you go in your guitar world.
Yeah, and shows you what you're interested in and what you like to do. So if you had a first pedal that you want to share, comment below. Let us know what you think. And maybe yours was a Crybaby too, or something like that. So
yeah, maybe it was a Deluxe Memory Man.
That would be amazing. If you still have that, let me know.
Give it to me for free, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to get into a gasser pass.
Okay.
So my gasser pass I brought in today was the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe.
Okay.
So this is an amp that is, you know, been out there for a long time now. It's kind of the standard.
We're at what, version 4?
Yeah, version 4, I believe.
4 or 5, something like that.
I believe it's 4. I think you're right. So, 112, 40 watts, brand new. They sell for $1,000.
$1,000?
$1,000.
I remember when they were like $600 max.
They were $600 max. You're right, but they're not anymore. They're $1,000.
Holy cow! What happened?
Well, COVID happened. And ever since 2020.
The fact that a Princeton Reverb, I just want to say, that is around like $1,400 blows my mind.
Yeah, I remember when the Princeton for a long time was $999.
I was about to say, right
Same
under
price
1,000.
as the Deluxe, Hot Rod Deluxe. And then the Deluxe Reverb for a long time was like $1,299 or $1,199.
Right.
And then they jumped in like 2020, 2021, and have never made their way back down.
And they never will. It's done now, so.
Well, Marshall came down. But that's a different scenario.
Yeah, Fenders are made in America, though. It's a little different.
Well, some of them. So, yeah, the Hot Rod Deluxe, it's the standard for going out. And if you had backline, you had to go play somewhere, you could always ask for a Hot Rod Deluxe. And you could always get one. But is it a gas or pass for you to own one?
So...
Owning it's much different.
Right. I think... If you're asking me, like, and I've started out from scratch...
I'm asking you today.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference.
Okay.
Because right now I don't know what it's called. Bogner, Alchemist.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. It's a 112. It's got 2 channels. It's got reverb.
And it's
delay.
40 watts.
It's 40 watts. So it does what the Hot Rod would do for me.
Yep.
And it is my backup amp.
Yeah. It's the one you take in case everything else fails.
If everything goes down,
you can roll that thing in and you're okay.
Yep, the Alchemist will do anything I need it to.
Make it through the gig.
Yep, completely. So For the Hot Rod Deluxe, do I want it? Do I have a need for it? I don't. I mean, if I was starting from scratch today, though, and I was looking at all the different amps out there, I would probably want one.
Okay.
Because it is a complete, like, it's a, you know, a guitar-friendly, gigging-friendly type of amp. Like, you can take it anywhere. You know what it'll sound like. You know it'll be reliable.
Yeah.
You know that clean channel will never do you wrong, and the dirty channel will do you dirty.
They're better. They're better today.
They're better than they used to be.
Yeah.
Okay, but and I knock on it, but truly, like, it is a great all-around amp.
Yeah.
I am curious because this is something that I know Jimmy Page had used, and this is going off topic now.
Yeah, that's okay.
But the Fender Supersonic.
Yeah.
What happened to that thing?
It's still there.
Because
they still make it.
To me, I would rather have a Supersonic. I'm more excited for that because you have the option on the clean channel to change it from like bassman to other types of sounds.
Yep.
And then you have a dirty channel, which I don't think it's anything spectacular, but if I remember right, it has this like burn switch on it.
Yeah.
And it can get even extra more like distorted.
Yeah, Greg Koch was using that for a little while.
Yeah. So I am more interested in the Supersonic.
Okay.
But regardless, I don't need either one. I've got that Alchemist and it does everything I need.
Is there any chance in your mind that you think I want to get rid of this Alchemist and replace it?
For sure.
And if you did, would you look at a Hot Rod Deluxe?
I would look at the Hot Rod Deluxe. I'd look at
Blues Deluxe or whatever too.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I know the difference, to be completely honest with you.
Not much.
And then I would look at, you know, the Supersonic. I have a Vox head.
Yeah.
And, you know, that does pretty much everything I need it to. Head and cab. I don't know. I'm sure there's other stuff out there like Mesa. I would probably look at one of those Cali Tweeds.
Yeah.
I'd probably look at one of those. There's lots of stuff out there. I don't think there's one in particular amp that I look at. I really just want that amp to do whatever I need it to in whatever moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the good thing is about a Hot Rod Deluxe is you could walk into the gig, your pedal board go down, and you still do have that overdrive channel. You still got a clean channel.
Sure.
You've still got a reverb built in. Yeah, it's not an ideal situation, but it is kind of a grab and go. You could plug straight into that thing, worst case scenario, and play through a lot of stuff.
Exactly. If your pedal board totally goes to crap, you plug straight in, you're still going to be able to play the show.
Yeah. It's man, it's a really killer amp that has gotten kind of expensive, but I'm sure you can still find them used for $600. And especially the older models, you know, Hot Rod Deluxe 3 or Hot Rod Deluxe 2 or something like that. Those are probably selling for $400 at this point. For $400, I mean, well worth the money.
I gotta say, I don't know where the price point is, but if I was looking to replace my Alchemist, now that I'm thinking about it a bit more, I'd probably look at one of those Boss Katanas.
Really?
Because
for just a backup.
Just a backup. I don't necessarily need tubes for a backup while I would want them, and while it's not a Fender clean, I get it. Like, it's not going to be like totally the best sound you've ever heard in a live situation. But for a backup, I feel like you couldn't necessarily go wrong with a Boss Katana.
Would you get the 212, the 112, the head and cab? What would you do?
Depends on how heavy everything is. If the 212 is light enough, let's say it's around 30 pounds or less, I'd probably buy the 212. Yeah. But honestly, the 112, depending on the wattage, I can't remember how many watts that has, that would probably serve me just fine.
Yeah, so for me, if I was going to do a backup, I would much rather have the Hot Rod Deluxe now with the Katana myself. Those Hot Rod Deluxes, I've been playing on stage before, and the guitar player next to me has got a Hot Rod Deluxe, and he just tips it back ever so slightly to get himself in the ear. And I've been standing just to the side of him a little bit, and I've thought to myself, holy crap, that dude has got some volume. And I look over, and it's on like 2 or 3.
Right.
So not only is it a great do-it-all amp, it's got headroom.
Right.
It's got headroom to get up and get out. And I love the idea of that in case I'm playing a gig that's outside. Maybe the guitar amps aren't getting mic'd or whatever. I love the idea of that. The Katana probably would push through pretty well for a while, but especially the 212. But I would rather have the Hot Rod Deluxe myself. For me, the Hot Rod Deluxe in my situation would be a pass right now because I've got other amps. I'm kind of in a I probably should have something that kind of covers all that ground with a lot of clean headroom like that. But I'm more interested now in finding amps for the right venue and taking the right amp for the right venue. But I probably should have some type of backup, that can kind of cover all grounds.
Yep.
So
you're missing that.
Maybe it's more of a gas than what I think.
I think you're gonna have to break down, either get like a Lone Star, a Boss Katana,
yeah,
or a Hot Rod Deluxe,
or a Vibrolux, Pro
Vibrolux.
Reverb.
All right,
Super Reverb.
you got lots of options.
All right, well, you're up with the next gas or pass. So.
All right, so for my gas or pass, it's pretty simple. I'm a big Jack White fan. There's really no secret in that. I also think the Digitech Whammy pedal has done some amazing things. Whether you are a fan of Tom Morello or not, he has changed rock music quite a bit. Okay?
Yeah.
Also, we don't even have to look just at the Whammy, but they have a detune that does like pitch shifting and detunes your guitar.
Yeah.
So you don't have to change your tuning.
Yeah.
Which I think it's like an extra $100. Let's see. The regular Whammy's $300. For the detune, it's $420. So $120 extra, and you can get this detune feature too.
A Whammy pedal's $300.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So the Whammy pedal. Oh my gosh, it's So there's pedals that you just play with for fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing the Whammy pedal's good for.
The Whammy by itself?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You can play some octaves on there. You can do a lot with it.
Okay, I'm not... Yeah, you can. There's a lot of things you can do. And you can also get envelope filters, and you can get all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
Those wild things, Qtrons. And it's cool, but for what I play and what I do, I'm never going to be able to use it.
Not the Whammy. What about the detune?
The detune would be amazing.
Right.
I love the idea of going in and your singer being like, oh, I need this song in half step down. Or the song was just written in half step down, and you can step on a button, it kicks you down a half step. Electro Harmonics makes one too. I forgot what the name of it is, but they do one that's similar to that
like
too.
Pitchfork or something.
Yeah, it might be the Pitchfork. So there's a few other companies that's doing that now, and I think those pedals would be awesome. So if that's built in the Whammy, that's pretty cool. But I would just not get that.
Like you would just avoid it altogether.
I just avoid it altogether. I think it's really cool, but it's not for me, not whatsoever.
I think here's where I think you could be wrong.
Okay.
Because I'm not totally disagreeing with you. Do you need a Whammy? Probably not.
No one needs
unless you're
a
in a Rage Against the Machine type of
cover band,
or you're in a Jack White cover band, the White Stripes. You probably don't need one. It's cool. You probably don't need one. But I do think if you are a musician that has one guitar and you're trying to cover as much ground as possible.
Oh yeah, Whammy pedal's the first thing you should buy.
A detune and a Whammy, you can't go wrong. Tell me, let's say you have a singer.
For $400, you could buy another guitar.
Here is... Shut up. Here... You're not making my case better. The thing is, like, let's say you have a singer that sings in, like, standard tuning in one key, and then you have to change keys, like, right, and it's, like, back to back.
Okay.
You got that detune setting, you're set, man.
Yeah, you could just pick up your other guitar you spent $400 on.
But what if you don't have that other guitar?
Well, you don't buy the Whammy pedal and you get the guitar.
But what guitar are you going to find for $400 that sounds as good as the current guitar you may have?
I'm assuming if you've only got one guitar, your guitar is not great.
What about, let's say you have a baritone. Is that like the flip side? Because you're a big baritone guy, but you're totally against a Whammy pedal and a detuner. So tell me, what's the excuse of the baritone? Because you can't swap into that very quick.
You can't
answer that one for me.
Riddle me this, Batman. So I think you just pick up the guitar, you step on your tuner, you pick up your guitar, and you get playing.
Yeah, it'll be really fluid.
I know that you're trying to get this Whammy pedal bought in here, but it's just not going to work for me. I just am not interested in a Whammy pedal whatsoever. I think it would be fun to play with, to have, I guess, and own. It's kind of like a lot of, like I said, those envelope filters, and I mean, even that micro pitch Eventide pedal that I kind of want. Like, I kind of want that because I love some of those 80s sounds and that detune sound. But I'm probably not going to use it on a gig. It would just be for fun. That's probably my whammy pedal. You know what I mean? That's like that version of that for me.
Okay.
I want to pull it out and play with it once in a while and be fun, be awesome, but it's probably not real practical. And you probably want to pull out that whammy pedal and play with it and have fun, but it's not real practical.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
You know? So for me, it's a pass.
I think for the right person,
You're not asking for the right person. You're asking for me. It's a pass.
Okay, all right. Well, it's probably a pass.
Is it
for
a gas?
Me too.
Oh, is it a pass for
It's
you?
probably a pass for me just because I have the extra guitars. But if I didn't have them, I would
You
consider it.
You could buy the detune pedal.
You're wrong.
The pedal that just drops your... Okay.
Nope, not the same. Not the same.
All right. You are Gibson's new CEO.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Where's my money?
Oh, there's no salary.
Perfect.
It's volunteer only.
Yeah, nonprofit.
So you become Gibson's new CEO. You get to make decisions on how the line works, what you're going to be making next, where your price points should be, all the different guitars being made. What do you do?
Like, I could choose
Oh,
anything.
yeah. You're the CEO of Gibson.
Okay, well, who was the guy who owned it last? That just left?
Oh, Cesar?
Yeah, whoever he was.
Yeah, he's on like the board or something.
Okay,
Still.
I thought he did a pretty darn good job.
He took it out of shambles.
It was, yeah, he raised it from the ashes.
Whenever he got it, it was the Phoenix. Whenever he got it, they had robot tuners.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was so bad.
I love Gibson, but it was bad at that time.
I remember when I was playing one of those robot tuner guitars, and I was in the middle of playing, and I didn't know how to turn off the tuner, and the thing was going crazy and retuning, and I was afraid because it kept tuning up the A's.
Yep.
I was like, oh, this is going to be a problem. The string's going to snap.
Yeah.
I thought it was like trying to mind read and everything.
Awful.
It was
trying to mind read.
Yeah, some Jedi mind tricks. But it was in the shambles. I thought he did a pretty darn good job.
I did too.
And then I don't know what happened, but then Gibson started taking left turns and spiking the prices again. So the reason why Gibson was doing well is he's like, all right, we need some 50s and 60s Les Pauls. We need some SGs.
We need to get back to tradition.
We need
tradition.
Don't ever do that again. Anyways, we have some humbuckers that are more low output for the 50s, the 60s a little higher output. The SGs, I think they could have done a white SG and a red SG instead of just the vibrolas and all that stuff. But, that's my opinion on that. I thought he did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Because he brought the prices down a bit. Now you look, he's out. Prices have went up another $400.
You think that's because he left?
I don't know if it's because he left or because of...
You're just saying, for instance, now the prices are up and
now
he's
the
gone.
prices are up.
Okay.
He's gone. Now they've got all these different colors you can get with a 50s model or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But I also think Gibson is... So they shot themselves in the foot with the robot tuners, first of all.
Yeah.
So, they're still recouping from that.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I feel like they are too.
I also think when you look at... what was their... Didn't they have, a Pro Series and a traditional and a classic and stuff like that? So I know they have some of that stuff still.
Yep.
But I don't think... Nothing's clear-cut. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. They need to streamline the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because you've got Fender, who has Player Series... American Professional.
Oh, maybe we shouldn't get
American
into Fender.
Original.
Fender's got some stuff they've got to do too, though.
Yeah, but it
is a little clearer.
It's clear for the most part.
For the most part. What would you do, though, Mr. CEO of Gibson?
So
it's yours.
All right.
You know the problems. We've addressed some of the problems anyway.
Here's what you need to do.
No, what are you going to do?
Oh, that's what I'm trying to get at. All right, I'll get to the point eventually. What I'm trying to say is you need to have... the 50s and 60s
traditionals.
Are they traditionals?
I don't know.
I think they're just standards.
Okay.
50s and 60s standards. Mm-hmm. Maybe you name those differently and you say traditional because they are or maybe heritage or something like that.
Okay.
That might be on the line of a different brand. But anyways, you say something like that. Reissue type of thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe 50s and 60s reissues.
Okay.
All right. Then you have Les Paul Standard.
Yep.
By George, make it a Les Paul Standard with what a today's player will have. No coil splits.
You wouldn't do that in a standard?
Not in a standard.
Would you have a weird cutaway?
Nope, not in a
Like
standard.
a heel joint? Okay.
I would have,
Hot pickups?
I don't know about hot. I would have some type of burst bucker, like maybe 60s type of pickups.
Okay.
SGs, you should have, I guess I should stay on Les Pauls. You have kind of the past reissues, you have a standard, and then you should have some type of modern, not high performance, but they had something like that too.
Pro model that tries to change something up. I think that was good how they kind of had it laid out there. Yep.
But don't go to robot tuners.
Right.
Like, have a little cutaway, have maybe a belly cut on the back of the Les Paul.
Okay.
Maybe
coil splits?
Maybe on that one you could do kind of like Fender's Ultra or whatever that they have. Maybe have, that coil split, a belly cut, stuff like that. Better tuners.
Yeah.
Locking
Put Grovers
tuners
on it or something, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all they have to do.
Yeah.
They don't have to rewrite history.
Okay.
But they have to do something different.
Yeah.
And then with SGs, I think they need to do, I don't know why they have so many vibrolas. They need to do the Batwing SG. They need to do the 60s, like small pick guard. They need to have probably one with a vibrola or a maestro and offer it in white, black, and red in any scenario.
Yeah.
And then, ES335, while I would love to own one, you've heard from Joe Exotic himself, I will never financially recover from this. Because I'll never be able to own one.
Well, especially the ones you want.
No, because, exactly. Because I want the block inlays. I don't want dot. I don't want a dot.
Yeah. And the block inlays that you like are the custom shop jobs, right?
And it's not cheap.
Like
so,
Murphy Lab.
What I'm trying to get at is you need 3 different types of Les Pauls that are production, 3 types of SGs, Batwing, the 60s style, and like a Maestro type.
Yeah.
And you need to offer at a decent price point with like normal colors.
Okay.
You don't have to get crazy with it. Now, if you want to get crazy colors, that's with the high performance or pro or whatever that you're doing. That's when you can do the crazy.
You do the Supremes and all that stuff, and customs and weird colors.
And then I think they're doing custom shop right.
Yeah, custom shop actually is really good right now.
Yeah, I think they're doing custom shop right. Because even the Murphy Lab stuff, they're doing awesome.
Yeah.
So I know I've talked a lot. I'll shut up now.
Yeah.
What's your agenda as CEO of Gibson?
So my agenda would be, so Cesar has reportedly and openly said that one of his biggest goals was to set up a lot of these artists. He was a big artist guy. That's why he pushed all these slash signatures. If you remember, all those slash signatures came out whenever he was up. Mm-hmm. He had that crazy green burst and purple burst and signature acoustics and all these different things. I think that's cool, but I think we've taken it probably a step too far. I think we're probably doing too many signatures of the same stuff.
There's only so many slash models we need.
It's awesome stuff. I love Slash.
Slash is awesome, but when you have over 20,
He's my man. Yeah, it feels like it anyway. And then, we've got all these different things going on. So we've got all this stuff like the Greenie that's been coming out, that $75,000 guitar or whatever it was.
Cheap,
crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Just 2 cups of coffee. So for me, I would kind of clean up all that type of stuff too. So I would go in and do something similar to what you're talking about. I would probably have, I would come out with, I would call it a traditional Les Paul, and I would have a 50s version and a 60s version. I have a 50s version that was standard humbuckers, standard tailpiece, all that type of stuff. All that beautiful stuff.
Nitro
Bumblebees,
still.
all that. Yeah, I wouldn't change any of that. And then 60s, I would have a little bit hotter pickups. I would have a little bit thinner neck on it and probably call it good. No weight relieving, nothing like that.
Right.
I would move up from there, and I would probably, I honestly would not have a standard.
I think you're wrong for doing that.
I don't think I would have a standard because I think the 60s is pretty much a standard Les Paul at this point. And I would go to a pro model or a high performance or whatever you want to call it. I would have a better cutaway at the heel. I would have belly cuts, stuff like that. I would do similar things to the SG as yours. I would look into some of the other guitars that aren't really being made that much right now. I think that Firebirds, I think there's not a lot of Firebirds being made very well. I would look down in the lower models like the juniors and the specials.
The P90s need some attention.
P90s need attention. I think that we could make juniors a little bit better all the way around. I'd make a double cut, a single cut junior. Same thing as specials, double and single cut. I'd bring back a cool melody maker. And I'd bring back a couple different Firebird versions. You know, they had so many different pickup options. I'd probably have one with regular Firebird pickups, one with the P90 Firebirds, and then maybe like one of the Firebirds that had 3 pickups in it, had the block inlay and all that stuff, something a little fancier. And then do simple Explorers, simple Vs. I think the problem is with Gibson is we've gotten so heavy on the signature models that we're not paying attention to the standard production models that much. We're putting all this effort into the Murphy Lab stuff, into signature guitars, and into like these one-off like greenies and this double neck SG from Page.
Right.
I think we need to do that, and if we can make it simpler and make fewer like different types and models of guitars, maybe we can bring the price down and we can get relatively like close on price. And if I'm Gibson CEO and I can deal with Epiphone, I'm getting rid of that Gibson headstock on those Epiphones.
No, I think you're wrong.
They're wrong for putting that on there.
That's another topic.
It is another topic, but I think Gibson's done some amazing things, but I think they're just a little like they're a little soupy right now. They're a little bit of a mess. You know, they're like a.
I mean, to be fair, every company has its flaws.
I could say this about PRS. I could say it about Taylor. I could say it about Fender. I could say it about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's just a few things, if I was Gibson, I would probably try to clean up a little bit.
I would say I agree with you on pretty much everything except for I think they need a standard.
Yeah, and maybe I wouldn't be totally against a standard. And if I'd done a standard, I would probably do something completely different pickup-wise. You know, maybe I would put some Seymour Duncans in there and, like, really change it up. But, yeah, I think that it's time for them to do, like, a little remodel and revamp of all the different standard lines they've gotten, because they've gotten too heavy into these customs and custom colors and different things like that. So, and then, you know, I would say, well, the CEO needs to make more money right at the end, and I would probably try to give myself a boost in salary.
Yep, you're going to be everybody's favorite CEO.
Tell everybody else that their pay's getting cut, and I'll give myself a bump in salary.
That's a great way to make better guitars.
Yeah. If you guys all make less money and I make more, then it'll be better guitars.
All right. Is that your joke? Because that's not very good.
It was meant to be a joke. I'm completely joking. But no, I think Gibson's actually doing really good, but they need a little bit of cleanup.
For the most part, they're doing well. Yeah, I think they need to focus a little more on the production stuff that they got going on.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think I'd touch our custom shop.
No?
I think the custom shop's making beautiful stuff.
Yep.
Since like 2012, 2013, custom shop's been great.
Yeah, especially since, they started those collector's choices and all that.
Yeah, Murphy's Lab stuff. I like it.
Yep.
So anyway, I guess that's about it for this episode.
That's it.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time, guys.